What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Eric and we are Ryden Dirty. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different than what we normally do. Usually we're out riding, hitting jumps, hitting trails and all that good stuff. But I wanted to talk about my new purchase that I just got for the channel. The Skydio 2. This drone's pretty awesome, right? You're hearing all over the place about the Skydio 2, the fully autonomous drone that will follow you anywhere, especially for action sports or whatever the case may be. Well, I bought this drone because I wanted to take my footage and my videos to that next level of just great cinematography, that kind of stuff. So I picked up this drone. I had buyer's remorse after using it a couple times. And in this video, I'm gonna tell you about all the things that I've learned and the things that I don't like about it and the things that I do like about it. So let's dive in. Disclaimer, I am not a drone pilot, nor have I been doing it for more than a few months. So this is just my experience. All right, so let me explain my journey with the Skydio 2. Number one, when you purchase this from Skydio, you have to put a deposit down and it's about $100 and you have to wait for your drone to be built and you're gonna be on a waiting list that is gonna take a while. During COVID, that waiting list got longer. I waited 11 months to get my drone. That's a pretty long time to wait for a piece of camera equipment, but you know what? I really wanted it. I put the money down and I knew that one day I would get it, so I had to be patient. So in the box you have the Skydio drone, you have a couple extra blades, you have a cleaner for all the sensors that are on it, and you have a battery and then the plug that comes with it with the cable. After everything was all said and done, I paid close to $1,300 because I got a beacon and an extra battery, so that was everything combined total. Okay, so when I hear the term fully autonomous, I automatically assume that this drone can follow me through anything no matter what. I know that there's other products out there like DJI who have drones that can follow you and do what they need to do, but they have motion tracking. So, you know, I was thinking, okay, this thing is built to not have a remote control, so it has to be better than that. Well, not so much, to be honest. I mean, there's certain times it works really well, but there's certain times that it works terrible. And I wasn't really putting it to a torture test. I wasn't trying to like fly it through trees and crazy stuff like that. But I did some pretty basic stuff, as you can see right here, and the drone lost me. So being very frustrated that it wouldn't follow me was like overwhelming, because I'm like, listen, I just waited a year for this. I paid $1,300 just to get this drone to my house, and then I go for a bike ride out in the middle of my neighborhood where there's no trees, no power lines, no nothing, and the thing won't follow me. So I guess you could say I was pretty frustrated. And as you can see right here, it lost me and it's returning back to the spot that it started from when I first started recording. And I don't understand why, because there was nothing that was in the way. I was using my phone as the tracker and remote at the time, and I hadn't got the beacon out yet. But the really weird part was I came back to collect the drone, and then all of a sudden it started tracking me again, but then it wouldn't follow me. It was just looking for me and just still staying in the same spot. So I was really confused on what was going on. I finally got it to track me again. I had to stop, pull my phone out and make sure it was looking at me. And I'm like, okay, let's go for another ride down my street. And so, you know, it's obviously avoiding trees, doing what it's supposed to do, and it's following me and it's tracking me. And right here, I was pretty stoked. I'm like, all right, it's working now. Everything's going good. And then I go to turn around and then it's following me, it's tracking me, it's trying to get in the right position. And I'm like, okay, good, it's working. It's still looking at me, even though it's on the other side of me now, but it's still looking at me and following me and going in the right direction. So that was the plus, and I was super stoked. I'm like, cool, this is working finally. And then all of a sudden it turns around, goes up in the air, and then leaves again. So at this point, I was just like, what is going on with this thing? Like, I was so mad. I'm like, why is it leaving? Where's it gonna go? I don't have a remote. How am I gonna get this thing back? But from what I understand from Skydio is that when it loses you, it goes back to the spot that it started. So I'm still confused because I'm like, it was following me. So when did it lose me? So all of a sudden just stopped. So I'm assuming it stopped right where I turned around. So at this point, I went back in the house. I brought the Skydio in, I brought the beacon in, and I figured I probably need to do a software update. And I didn't do that in the beginning, and I thought about that. I was like, you know, it's probably important that software update is ready to go. So I took it back in, did a software update, got everything up to date, and then here's my next time of flying it. We went out to a bike park out in Goodyear, Arizona,
And I figured, you know what, this would be the perfect spot. Everything's open. There's nothing around. We can just, you know, fly the drone and it'll follow me, and I'll have it high enough so it doesn't, you know, try to cut anyone's head off. So I figured we were all good. And at first it was great. And I had the beacon and my phone, and it's getting some good shots. And I'm like, all right, sweet. This thing's finally doing what it's supposed to be doing now. We're in business. And then all of a sudden this, again, it's following me, everything's going great, and then it just stops tracking me. And I'm so confused. I'm like, there's no interference, there's no trees, there's nothing to get in the way, and it's just sitting there. So once again, I have to grab my phone so I can get it back over to me, because flying with the beacon is terrible. And most people will agree. The beacon is good for just like setting it and forgetting it and the GPS. But as far as like trying to see what's going on, because it's hard to see the drone when it's kind of far away. You can't see what it sees, so you don't know if you're going in the right direction or not. So at this point, I brought it back. I just wanted to land it and start over, reset it, restart the whole entire drone, the remote, the app, everything. And that's what I did. So once again, got it back up in the air, got my phone app restarted, and got it tracking me, and just, you know, put it in the right spot that I wanted it to be so it would follow me. And so far it was like going pretty good. I'm like, all right, cool, it's working now. And it followed me, and it kept, even though it lost me in the screen, it would still find me again. So I was finally happy that, okay, it's doing what it's supposed to do. Finally, I think I figured it out. And then once again, it turns around and goes in the opposite direction. I at this point, I was ready to like just put it in the bag and send it back to Skydio, because I'm like, your drone doesn't work. Like, there's nothing in the way, there's no interference, I have no idea what's going on, but it just will not follow me. I ended up trying it again and got it back in the air, got a couple shots that I thought were good enough for the day, and I just put it back in the bag, and I was just like, forget it, this thing's such a waste of time right now that I can't even ride right now because it's becoming such a pain.
Alright, so the footage you're about to see right here was my third time going out and shooting with this thing. I was just already frustrated, hoping that was going to work, but then I figured, you know, all the trees I was going to be around, it probably wasn't going to work well at all. On top of all of that, I forgot the beacon, so I was really upset that I only had my phone for it to follow me. But the area I was in was very small, and there wasn't too much, but there was a big open spot in the middle where the drone could actually like see me. So this is what happened on that time with just the phone.
At first I was pretty worried. I mean, I got it up in the air, it was ready to go, it was tracking me, but there's a ton of trees in this area. So I figured it was just gonna get stuck behind trees every chance it could. And to my surprise, it actually did really well between all these trees. I don't know what the deal is, and I don't know why this place was any different than any other place I was already trying to fly it. But for some reason, it just flew over the trees, it followed me, and it stayed with me really well. And so I really don't understand. I mean, I'm not upset because at least it's doing what it's supposed to do. I'm just confused more than anything. I don't get why it just doesn't follow me the way it's supposed to at times, and then at times I feel like it's not gonna work. It works great. Right here, I'm just pedaling back, and I'm going through a bunch of trees, as you can see. There's big trees on the left, big trees on the right, but for some reason it still manages to stay with me. I don't know what the deal is and why it's able to do that. I don't know. I'm just kind of confused on this thing. I really like the fact that it does follow and it keeps up at times and gets great shots, and it's awesome. I mean, look at these shots right here. They're fantastic. But also, once again, it gets lost and doesn't know what's going on, and then just starts flying in a random direction and then stops. I mean, it's just frustrating.
So at the end of the day, this is the final verdict. Is the Skydio 2 an awesome drone? Absolutely. Is it also terrible? Absolutely. And the reason is, it's not consistent. It doesn't follow you all the time. I feel like if they had a software update or something like that, it would work a lot better. Do I want to get rid of it? No. I mean, it's still so cool, the fact that I don't have to have someone piloting my drone for me and it can just follow me. But also at the same time, it's super frustrating that it may stop following me and get lost, even if I'm not in like a dense forest. You know, I've seen all these great shots that they put on their commercials. You know, that's why I wanted this drone in the first place, because of that right there. And the fact that it's not doing that, it bothers me a little bit, to be perfectly honest. But I haven't given up on it yet. I'm gonna try to learn this thing as much as I can till it works perfect for me. I still feel like there may be some bugs or flaws in it, and hopefully those get worked out so this thing can be the best drone on the market. I'm really hoping for that. I have the DJI Mini drone and I love that thing. I mean, it works so good. And I mean, right when I get the controller in my hand and start flying it, it's flawless. So I really hope that this thing can get up to par as far as like doing what it says it's supposed to do. If you like what we do on the channel, hit that like button. If you want to see what we're up to next, hit that subscribe button. And always remember, start small and go huge. Thanks for watching.